Chapter 8 Dig Dog Dig. Pinky and Sneaky tied their rope around the big rock. The wind howled. The two pirates pulled and pulled and pulled. "They need help," said Jack. "Let the dogs do the work," growled Captain Bon. "You're not very nice to them," said Annie. "Who cares?" roared Captain Bon. "Captain, we got it!" shouted Pinky. They started pulling the rock across the sand. "Now let's dig where the rock was," said Jack. "All of us." But Captain Bon ignored his suggestion. "Dig, you dog!" he shouted. Pinky and Sneaky started to dig. The wind blew even harder. There was going to be a thunderstorm. "Ow! I got sand in my eyes," Pinky whined. "Ow! My back hurts," Stinky cried. "Dig!" shouted Captain Bon. He held Jack and Danny with one hand. With the other, he pulled out the gold medallion. He tossed it at the two pirates. It fell into the hole. "Dig for more of these, you swing," he says. Squawk. "Look," Annie says. Polly was back. She was circling above them. "Go back," she squawked. Big fat raindrops were falling into the hole, washing away the sand. Jack saw the patch of woods. Then the rain cleared away more sand, and Jack saw the top of an old trunk. He stared. Was it Captain Kidd's treasure chest? "Hurry, Jack!" cried Annie. She was halfway up the treehouse ladder. "I found it! I found it!" cried Jack. "I found the treasure chest!" "Forgot the treasure chest," said Annie. "We have to go now. The storm's getting worse." Jack kept staring at the chest. Was there gold inside? Silver? Precious gems? "Come on!" Now Annie was shouting from the treehouse window, but Jack couldn't tear him away. He brushed the rust off the muddy standoff chest. "Jack forgot the treasure chest," cried Annie. "Let's go!" "Go back!" squeaked Polly. Jack looked at the parrot. She was perched on the black rock. He stared into her wise eyes. He thought he knew her from somewhere else. "Go back, Jack," she says. She sounded like a person. Okay, it was definitely time to go. Jack took one last look at the treasure chest. He clutched the gold medallion. Then he took off, running toward the treehouse. His socks and rain boots were still there. He quickly pulled the boots on. He shoved the socks into his backpack. The rope ladder was dancing wildly in the wind. Jack grabbed it. The ladder swayed as Jack climbed. He was tossed in way and that, but he held on tight. At last he pulled himself into the treehouse. "Let's go," he cried. Annie was already holding the Pennsylvania book. She pointed to the picture of Rock Creek. "I wish we could go there," she shouted. The wind was already blowing hard, but now it blew even harder. The treehouse started to spin. It went faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Chapter 9 The Mystery's End. Drip, drip. Jack opened his eyes. Rain was dripping from the leaf of the tree. They were back in Frog Creek. The rain was softer. The wind was clearer. The air was sweeter. Oh man, Jack sighed. That was close. He was still holding the gold medallion. Polly's gone, Annie said sadly. I was hoping she might come back with us. No magic creature has even come back with us, said Jack. He pulled off his backpack. It was damp with rain and salt water. Jack took out the pirate book. He put it on the sack of books, on top of the dinosaur book, and the night book, and the mummy's book. And Jack put the gold medallion beside the bookmark with the letter M. Next, he went down onto his knees and ran his finger over the shimmering M on the floor. We didn't find any M's on this trip, he said. Or the M person, said Annie. Squawk! Polly! Annie cried. The power shot into the treehouse. She patched on the sack of books. Polly looked straight at Jack. What are you doing here? He asked her. Slowly, Polly raised her bright green wings. They grew bigger and bigger until they spread out like a huge green cast. Then, in the great swirl of color, the blur of feather and light in the flapping and stretching and screeching, a new being-shaped look. A new being took shape. Polly was not a parrot any longer. In her place was an old woman, the beautiful old woman with long white hair and piercing eyes. She wore green feather caps. She patched on her sack of books, and she was very calm and very still. Neither Jack nor Annie could speak. They were too amazed. Hello, Jack. Hello, Annie, the old woman said. My name is Morgan Le Fay. Chapter 10. Treasure Again. Annie found her voice first. The M person, she whispered. Yes, I am M person, said Morgan. Where are you from? Asked Jack. Have you ever heard of King Arthur? Said Morgan. Jack nodded. Well, I am King Arthur's sister, said Morgan. You're from Camelot, said Jack. I read about Camelot. What did you read about me, Jack? Said Morgan. You're a witch. Morgan smiled. You can't believe everything you read, said Jack. But you're a magician, said Annie. Most call me an eaterless, but I'm also the librarian, said Morgan. A librarian? Said Annie. Yes, I've come to the 20th country your time to collect books. You are lucky to be born in the time with so many books. For the Camelot Library? Asked Jack. Precisely, said Morgan. I travel in this treehouse to collect word from many different places around the world, and from many different time periods. Did you find books here? Said Jack. Oh yes, many wonderful books. I want to borrow them for our serve to copy. Did you put all the bookmarks in them? Said Jack. Yes, you see, I like the picture in the books. Sometimes I want to visit the sand in the picture, so all the bookmark place I wish to go. How do you get there? Asked Annie. I place a spell on the treehouse, said Morgan. So when I pointed to the picture and make a wish, the treehouse take me there. I think you dropped this in dinosaur time, said Jack. He handed the gold medallion to Morgan. "Oh, thank you. I wonder where I lost it," she says. She put the medallion into the hidden pocket in her casque. "So can anybody work the spell?" asked Annie. "Anybody who try it?" "Oh dear, no, not just anybody," Morgan says. "You two are only one beside me to do it. No one else has ever even seen my treehouse before." "It is invisible?" asked Annie. "Yes," said Morgan. "I have no idea it would ever be discovered. But you two would ever... But then you two came along. Somehow you hooked right into my magic." "How?" asked Jack. "Well, for two reasons, I think," explained Morgan. "First, Annie believed in magic, so she actually saw the treehouse, and her belief helped you to see it, Jack." "Oh man," said Jack. "Then you pick up the book, Jack, and because you love books so much, you caused the magic spell to work." "Wow," said Annie. "You can't imagine my dismay when you start to take off the dinosaur time. I have to make very quick direction, and so I decided to come along." "Oh, so you're a pteranodon," said Annie. Morgan smiled. "And a cat and a knight at Polly." "And Polly," said Annie. "Yes," said Morgan softly. "You were all the things. You help us?" asked Jack. Yes, but I must go home now. The people in Camelot need my help." "You're leaving?" whispered Jack. "I'm afraid I must," said Morgan. She picked up Jack's backpack and handed it to him. Jack and Annie picked up their raincoats. It had stopped raining. "You won't forget us, will you?" asked Annie as they put their raincoats on. "Never," said Morgan. She smiled at both of them. "You remind me too much of myself. You love the impossible, Annie. And you love knowledge, Jack. That's better combinations is there?" Morgan Le touched Annie's forehead gently. "Then Jack," she smiled. "Goodbye," she said. "Goodbye," said Annie and Jack. Annie left the treehouse first. Jack followed. They climbed down the rope ladder for the last time. They stood below the oak tree and looked up. Morgan was looking out the window. Her long white hair blew in the breeze. Suddenly, the wind began to blow. The leaves began to shake. The loud whistling sound filled the air. Jack covered his ears and squeezed his eyes shut. Then everything was silent. Absolutely silent. Jack opened his eyes. The treehouse was gone. All gone. Absolutely gone. Jack and Annie stood a moment, staring up at the empty oak tree, listening to the silence. Annie sighed. "Let's go," she said softly. Jack just nodded. He felt too sad to speak. As they started walking, he put his hands into his pocket. He felt something. Jack pulled out the gold medallion. "Look," he said. "How did—" Annie smiled. Morgan must have put it there," she said. "But how?" "Magic," said Annie. "I think it means she'll be coming back." Jack smiled. He clutched the medallion as Jack and Annie took off through the wet, sunny woods. As they walked, the sun shined through the woods, and all the wet leaves sparkled. Everything, in fact, was shining. leaves, branches, puddles, bushes, grass, vines, wildflowers, all glitter like a jewel, or gleam like a gold. "And you have been right," thought Jack. "Forget the treasure chest. They had treasure at home, tons of it, everywhere."